Hi, folks. I'm Stephen DeFaus, along with James Brickhouse. We're the co-founders of the Headlock Headlines. Now, you may not know that much about us, so we're going to get a chance to know at least one of us for right now. James, tell me something. How did you get involved in pro wrestling? I mean, how did you get started at a young age?
At a young age, well, as you see as we're walking through here, Pro Wrestling World had the only wrestling museum actually in Allentown. But I actually was looking for a shop at one point. There was pay-per-view. I was looking for a shirt to wear out to the pay-per-view. Somebody I mentioned in this store came in instantly. I fell in love with the place. And from here is when I started learning about some independent shows. One at first was the LVW. My first match I had seen there was actually the first time Kikoa and JC Wessler went at it for the LVW heavyweight title. Then from there, I started going to EPWE Underground. There was an incident where a fan actually got out of hand, and I had actually got up out of my seat to help out with the fan. Well, it turned out that I actually worked with a promoter at my full-time job at a warehouse back then. So we spoke. I asked, do you need another security guard on? He was like, if you want the job, it's yours. So went in, done it, and it's been going great since.
And what's the worst scrape you've ever been in as a security guard?
Worst scrape? Oh, wow. That would have to be definitely the match between Hollywood Hayes and Ricky Martinez for the Elite Wrestling Heavyweight title. Just everything backfired where a fan got up and actually ended up punching Ricky Martinez in the mouth. Then all the fans started getting, they were battling outside of the ring, inside of the ring. When Martinez actually got punched in the mouth, there was blood that came not only from Ricky's mouth but also the fan's hand. I'm sitting there, I'm trying to clean the blood off the floor. I look up and the entire front row surrounding the Elite ring. And it was one of those where if any of the wrestlers would have left, God only knows what would have happened. So I vacated cleaning up, we got somebody else to do it, I ran back, and we had to quick try to regain composure of what was going on in the arena. That was definitely the worst.
Now, you've had a passion for wrestling for an extremely long time, and what were your tag teams, the wrestlers that you grew up with that were your favorites?
Of course, one of my favorites of all time is Hulk Hogan. Watching him grow up as a star, I don't mind him, but when you get to see stuff personally, not really the greatest guy I thought he would be. You gotta look at people like Bret Hart as well, one of the greatest guys there was. Shawn Michaels, the Rockers. Wow.
One guy you
Andre the Giant. One of the greatest managers ever was Jimmy Hart, hands down with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite tag teams right here, Strike Force.
Yes.
I hope one day they'll be able to bring Rick Martel in. But you always talk a lot about Harlem Heat. That's always been your tag team.
Well, you gotta understand, as being, what many don't know, because people look at me right away they think I'm Spanish until they hear me talk. Then they know that I'm definitely Caucasian mixed with something else. And truth of the matter is, I'm actually African American and German. What people don't understand is that being African American, back in the 1980s where I lived, they actually had to have a town meeting for us to be able to move into the house because we were actually the only African American family in the neighborhood.
Oh my God.
So they had to make sure that was all right, nothing would happen. If the neighbors weren't minded. So believe me, there was a lot of racism that I had to put up with. And something I'm not going to lie about is that even in my family, there's racism on that part. The one family reunion I went to, being an African American male, this was the first time we had ever gone to it. And as soon as me and my siblings get out of the car, one lady looks at us and goes, "Oh my God, we have colors in the family." That was the last time I went to that family reunion. That was something that
you would think that would have ended a long time ago.
It was something that shouldn't matter anymore. We're all human. We all believe the same
We all
color,
believe the same color.
and we all fight for the same reasons. The freedom of the U.S. It's not like that I just came over here for the heck of it. No, I was born here in the U.S. I fight for the same reasons as everybody else, and it shouldn't matter what somebody's skin tone is.
Right. So tell me, how did the refereeing start?
That was actually funny. We went to Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling Alliance. I rode down with some very good friends of mine, Autumn Breeze, Mongoose, Roadblock. And when we got there, I was actually in full security attire. And the guy looks at Autumn, he's like, we're in trouble. She goes, what's the matter? He goes, we don't have a referee. I remember I was training over at Goosebumps, and I was getting in the ring, I was helping the guys out with the matches and whatnot. And I was like, you know what, I go, give me a ref shirt, I'll give it a try out. Mongoose went in back in the locker room with me, he's like, listen, this is what you need to do, these are the signs, blah, blah, blah. Instantly, he was like, you remember what we did at school? He's like, it's the same thing that we're doing here. He goes, don't screw up. And I was so nervous in my first match that I thought I was going to screw up. And originally, I was only scheduled to do 2 matches there because they had actually found another referee. Turned out that night, instead of doing 2 matches, I ended up doing 6, including my very first main event, which was a last man standing match. But at the end of that night, I had no voice left whatsoever.
So tell me, many people, and this goes with wrestling managers, referees, they all think you can step in the ring and just do this. With you, you've had to have the training. What is the training like to become?
Oh my God, there are a lot of people that think that it's easy, and believe me, I was one of them. Like, I didn't believe, oh, it's not that hard, da da da. As soon as Goosebumps opened up, like, you gotta understand, I watched Mongoose in the ring since I was 13 years old. I'm 31 right now. And to get in there and work out with him, a man of his, I'm sorry to say this, but your age and everything, like, his age, I should say, like, to see how well he can work out and just keep going and going and going. Let me tell you something, after you do about 100 squats, 75 sit-ups, and, what was the other one? Leg lifts, or 6-inch, whatever they called it. But
this is just as a referee.
This was a warm-up before we got done. And after the warm-up, I rolled out of the ring, and he was like, "Are you alright?" I'm like, "Yeah, just give me a second. I feel dizzy." I ran outside. I started dry heaving. I thought I was gonna throw up. But like, the warm-up was rougher than the training was. But yeah. It was one of those things where I actually formed a good friendship with Michael J. Hari, Mongoose, and Autumn Breeze, and Roblox Chad McCoy. Jordan Ali is what he's wrestling as right now. Another upcomer that you're going to be seeing training with WXW right now is Tommy Orla. Keep your eye out for him. But you come to realize that not only as being a wrestler or referee, that when you start getting close to people, you become more of a family.
So the training is much more intense than people would think.
Yes, a lot more.
So now, as you're in front of the ECW version of the Pro Wrestling Museum, I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. I mean, and I say come out all the time, for pro wrestling. Now, what are the leagues have you been in so far?
So far, I've been with PCWA Pennsylvania Championship Wrestling Alliance. Sorry about that. AWF, New Era Wrestling Federation. I have been with ZWL. You know the meaning of that one.
Zealot Wrestling League.
Yes. And WXWC4, which is ran by the Wild Samoans. And starting February 28th, I start refereeing at Elite Entertainment, Elite Wrestling as well. A lot of people, one question I always ask about is, do your nerves ever calm? And as you will hear somebody say, it's when you get calm, when you get comfortable, that's the time that you need to back out. Because if you ever get too comfortable, that's more that you're going to risk something happening, not only to you, but to the people that you're working with as well.
You've been now nominated twice for Referee of the Year for the Smart Mark Radio FansChoice.com for 2015. You are now leading.
Yes.
What do you have to say to your fans?
To the fans, I owe you all a huge thank you. People, Leanne, Stephen, for one, you were the one that nominated me, and I can't thank you enough for that one.
Well, you deserve it.
Adam Warfeld, Bud Carson, and Deb Eisner, you guys have stuck close with me more than anybody has. Deb, recently, you went through a family situation, and I was more there. You came to me for support, and I can't thank you enough for that. There were quite a few people that shared it on Facebook for me. I can't remember everybody off the bat, but thank you. All the voters I have, thank you. It just means a lot to me. Just something that I wouldn't have pictured, and I can't thank you guys enough. Please, all I'm asking is keep those votes coming, because it's one of those things where this is an award that I will accept greatly and honorably, and something that I will promise I will keep working my hardest for you guys, as I have been.
And folks, as we near the end of this interview, I want to remind everyone that the voting will end on March the 1st, 2015. You will find the Smart Mark Fans Choice logo on the Headlock headlines. And remember to vote for James Brickhouse for Pro Wrestling Referee of the Year. And before we finish, what's the future hold? What do you want to see happen to James Brickhouse within the next 5 years?
To be honest, as anybody in the wrestling world will tell you, you never know what the future holds, but I hope to see you guys there.
Okay. Well, for James Brickhouse, I'm Stephen Faust. May life and wrestling treat you well.